You probably have seen the title of this video, and all you want is to hit the thumbs down icon, or even leaving an angry comment, so go right ahead, because this video is going exactly as you expect. I'm going to number the many reasons of why I think DmC is better than Devil May Cry 5. So lock and load, because this party is getting crazy.
What? No chit-chat or monologue? Just getting right to the point, huh?
Before I start my first point, I want to make something perfectly clear. I love both games. I finished both games 6 times each. I have the Platinum Trophy for both, so yeah, I love the series. And I'm absolutely excited for Devil May Cry 6. But I'm disappointed that we aren't getting DmC 2. Which lead me to my first reason. The environmental design is much better. For example, look at the first environment in Devil May Cry 5. Yet it's good, it is just good. Now look at the first environment of DmC. Yet, you now probably see my point. When a game starts, it should not pull any punches. It should absolutely throw everything towards your way, from the very first minute. And let's see another environment from both games. And another one. And another one. You now get my point. Every single environment in DmC is different. You almost never see the same area. And they only get better over time. While on the other hand, Devil May Cry 5 environments gets worse over time. The game starts very strong with the amazing looking Neon City, then it's all down south from here. Just tell me how many hours have you spent looking at the same purple walls? Let me answer the question. You spent more than you should. And I know that there are story reasons, but that's not enough. Which leads me to my next reason. The story is just much better in DmC. For example, watch the following scene.
So, tell me.
Tell you what.
How does it feel to be rescuing the guy that killed your father?
Hey, I'm glad we're getting personal. Well, he abandoned my mother and I and left us for dead. I feel nothing.
Well, he's not exactly going up for Father of the Year award now, is he?
His research wasn't half bad. Came in handy. Mildly thank you for that.
You have to do that in here. It already smells like ass.
So, yeah, and now watch this scene.
I trust you. You can trust me too.
He rescued me. I was in a foster home. My foster father was a demon. He attacked me most nights. I had to get out.
Nightmares.
It's okay. I felt nothing. I couldn't physically escape, so I found another way. I aimlessly wandered limbo in spirit form. I found Virgil there. He heard my cry for help. He helped me to deal with the demons, both figuratively and literally. I killed the bastard. Now I want to deal with them all. You're gonna stick with us to the end, right?
Count on it.
Both of them are side characters. You see both of them for about the same period of time. But you can't help feeling nothing when the characters in Devil May Cry 5 talk, because they just sound unforgettably and unforgivably stupid and over-the-top cheesy.
Yeah, he's a real pro at smacking demons around. That's why I built him that well-functioning arm. To kick demons.
But that's no different than the series as a whole. It's expected by now that a mainline Devil May Cry game to have a corny story. That wasn't the case in DmC.
Virgil, wait! You're in danger.
The story wasn't the best thing ever made, but it was reasonably good. And a reasonable good story is more than enough in an action game. Now probably to the most controversial part of this video. The music. There's only one excellent music track in the entirety of Devil May Cry 5. And it's Devil Trigger. Do you remember any other song from Devil May Cry 5? Now listen to the variety of music in DmC.
They're always here, controlling my thoughts, every sense, every sound, every image abstract. They're all alone, watching me die. Free will, obsolete, intention unknown. This is the day I'll try. 'Cause this is the day I die. Destroy your brain.
hear the songs and the music only once, while by the end of Devil May Cry 5, I listened to Devil Trigger more than 30 times. And both Dante and these songs weren't as good as they should have been. And speaking of variety, wait for it. The combat overall in DmC offers more in general. You have 5 different melee weapons and 3 ranged, and you have access to all your weapons at any time you want. Unlike Devil May Cry 5, where if you play as Nero, you have only one weapon. And your Devil Breakers are locked to the order that you chose before the mission began, and the moment you start getting used to playing as Nero, the game switches the character, and switching to V feels limiting and different in an unappealing way. And another major issue of the game, that it takes a while for it to give you all the weapons. Unlike DmC, which gave you all your weapons by the end of mission 10. And that's not the only reason that the combat feels better, but the number of menu options that mix up your play style. For example, the must style option that makes enemies take damage only if your style rank is above S. And many more options that challenge you and force you to change your way of play. And the final point that I want to make is about post-game content and how much better it is in DmC. First, you have the DLC that allow you to play as Virgil for the first time in the Devil May Cry series history. And it's different than the main game, but still feels familiar, and it tells a great story that ends in a way that set the tone for an exciting sequel. That unfortunately never going to happen. But keeping the conversation on post-game content, Devil May Cry 5 only offers the Bloody Palace. And it is the same Bloody Palace for all 3 characters, the same enemy layout, the same bosses, the same everything. While on the other hand, you have 2 completely different Bloody Palaces, with different enemies and enemy layout, and even different environments. Before I finish the video, I want to make it absolutely clear. I love Devil May Cry 5, and I'm really excited for Devil May Cry 6, but it's hard to not notice just how much better DmC is, and it's unfortunate that it's never getting a sequel. And that about does it for today's video. Tell me down below in the comments, which game in the series is your favorite. See you next time.
Rest in peace, little chicken. It's been a bash.